Last game week, I put myself into the top 5k and FPL has blessed us all with 5 free transfers so all of our teams can look the exact same for the next 3 game weeks. Guys, it's your boy FPL Bodders. Make sure you like and subscribe and let's get right into it. Guys, my last few game weeks have been nothing short of incredible, and last game week we went from 10k to 4k overall. It's unreal. So good, in fact, I may need to pop on the top 10k shades. Nay, the top 5k shades. Looking at my team, it's fairly obvious how I've done well these last few game weeks. I've obviously owned Foden for the last 3 game weeks, and he's done me another favour this game. We can get in 12 points. Sanchez was actually key to my success. That 10 pointer doesn't seem like a lot, but for a goalkeeper that not a lot of people own, that was huge to my success, huge to my push towards the top 5k. And obviously, Bruno Fernandes was the superstar of the game week. I was actually on a red arrow before Man United played. You know, I had Bruno and Mbeumo. They were playing the bottom team in the league, so I was expecting a decent amount, but I wasn't expecting 26 points from both of them combined. That was huge, and that gave me such a huge green arrow. I know going up 6k ranks isn't massive, but when you're in the top 10k, you know, it's quite a lot. Also, we got to give a massive shout out to my guy Dan Burn getting subbed off in the 63rd minute. Even though Newcastle get their clean sheet wiped out, Dan Burn knows what to do, and you know, he gets subbed off. You know, I definitely calculated that. I knew it was going to happen. Anyway, time to stop making a fool of myself wearing these sunglasses. Let's have a look at my transfers I made going into game week 16. So as of when I'm recording, I've not locked in any of these transfers, but I will be locking in the majority of these. I've ordered them from top to bottom and how certain I am in making these transfers. And these top 2 transfers I'm 100% making. There's no doubt in my mind, unless there's any injury scares going on. I need to clarify some things though. I still have my wild card left, you know, not to flex on any of you. Yes, I'm top 5k. Yes, I've got my wild card left. Yes, the Lamborghini outside is mine. On a real though, if I did not have my wild card, I would not be selling Voltemada. Keep that in mind. I mean, if he was my only route to Thiago, I would, but he's not. The only reason I'm selling him is because I have to use my wild card in a few game weeks time. So I want to play aggressive with my free transfers, and that's why I'm selling Voltemada to Thiago. In my opinion, Thiago is the highest priority player to own this game week, and you simply cannot go without him. The Brentford fixture run is way too good. If you watched my Bodders guide a couple days ago, you will know how important this man is to your FPL teams, and you just cannot go without him. Make sure you bring him in your teams. Welbeck, along with other Brighton players, are all right to keep and own if you've got some rotation for them when they play their hard fixtures. I don't. And like I said, I want to play aggressive for the next 3 game weeks because in game week 19, I'm going to use my wild card. And funnily enough, Fulham have the best fixture run across the next 3 game weeks, which makes it a perfect entry point for Raul Jimenez. Despite losing Iwobi to AFCON, arguably their most key player in creating chances, I still have hope for Raul Jimenez because the fixture run is really good. And it's not like Fulham are going to collapse on themselves without, you know, 1 or 2 key players. Well, they might, but I'm hoping not. I know a lot of people are thinking about Wilson, going for Wilson. Guys, I think he's a decent option. I think he's all right. As far as Fulham midfielders go, he's really the only good one to own. Just remember, he costs 5 million for a reason. He's not going to get you monster hauls, but he should hopefully pick up the odd return in the next few game weeks. So yeah, those 2 transfers I'm pretty certain on making. I missed a price rise on Thiago. I was supposed to transfer him in, I think, Tuesday evening. I completely forgot and I've lost myself 0.1 million, but that doesn't bother me too much. You know, if later down the line, I'm missing out on my ideal transfers by 0.1 million, I will go back in time and punch myself in the face, but hopefully that does not happen. These next 2 transfers, selling Semenyo and Munoz, isn't ideal. You know, they both have some easy games coming up before our wild card. You know, they're both players that can get points, but I really want Bukayo Saka in my FPL team, and I want to captain him for game week 16. Guys, he got rested in the midweek, which means he's almost certainly starting home to Wolves. I'm not saying I'm 100% certainly he is, but he probably will because he didn't play that much in the midweek. In terms of captaining Saka, I'm not the biggest fan of it and it is a risk, but Haaland is on bad form. He's not finishing his big chances and he's got a tough fixture, whereas Saka is playing, you know, maybe the worst team the Premier League has ever seen. And he's got a rest in the midweek. You know, I keep saying it, but it means a lot. That's the difference between playing only 60 minutes and, you know, 80 to 90 minutes. The difference between a goal and an assist or a blank. I'm essentially just playing it safe with this one, guys. After that, we are selling Munoz, which is incredibly scary. And it's what I need to do to fund the Saka transfer. If I do not sell Munoz, I cannot get Saka. It's as simple as that. Luckily, Anderson is an amazing player to buy this game week. At 4.5 million, like I said, that Fulham fixture run is really good. I do see a couple clean sheets in it for Anderson and some defcons here and there, hopefully. You know, that's what I'm hoping for, obviously, because I'm bringing him in. I'm not certain of it, but hopefully, you know, one clean sheet and defcons 1 or 2 times is all I need. You know, he might not start every game for me across the next 3 game weeks, but this game week he will definitely be starting, and I need some cover or else I'm going to have to start a Ryan Nildo, and I do not want to start a Sunderland defender. So those are the transfers I'm planning on making. Like I said, it's not 100% set in stone, but it's 90% set in stone. Follow me on Twitter if you want to see my 100% locked team on the deadline. That's where I'll post it. For now, let's go look at how my team should be lining up for game week 16. All right, in goal, we are holding Sanchez. Chelsea are second for expected clean sheets this game week. They have a good defense recently, and they're playing against a team that doesn't go forward very well. Also, I don't know if I mentioned it yet, but I am in the top 10k. Ladies, my DMs are not open, okay? Don't try message me. I know it's tempting, but please stay away. A lot of people questioned why I own Sanchez, and that's fair enough. Chelsea's underlying defensive numbers weren't good, but when their numbers weren't good, they were picking up a lot of red cards, which, you know, it sort of makes sense. If you apply common sense, you will understand playing with 10 men gives you bad defensive underlying data. When they play with 11 men, their expected clean sheets are pretty high, and across the last 8 game weeks, they're looking like a top 3 defense in the league based off expected goals conceded and expected clean sheets. Timber was arrested in the midweek against Club Brugge, which shocks me. I thought he would have been rested for the Wolves game. I was worried he wasn't going to start, but now I know he's not started in the Champions League. I'm fairly confident he's going to start in the Prem this game week, so no worries there. We then have new signing Anderson playing away to Burnley. Burnley are the worst team in the league. I know, you know, Wolves look to be the worst team in the league, but based on underlying data, Burnley are worse. So, you know, make of that what you will. I think Anderson's got a very good chance of a clean sheet, and if he doesn't, hopefully he can get me some defcons. And last but not least, Van den Berg, a really good long-term option, but like I said, I don't really need long-term options. Home to Leeds, decent chance of a clean sheet. Brentford are a very strong defence. Across the last 8 game weeks, they're top 3 for expected goals conceded and top 5 for expected clean sheets, all the other way around. Either way, they're a top 5 defence in the league without a doubt, and they're playing an easy fixture at home. Even though they've only kept 1 clean sheet in the last 8, the underlying data shows they should have more. If you want to know more about that, check out my last video. I'll explain it all there. In midfield now, I thought Mbeumo wasn't going to be available for game week 16. I genuinely thought that, but it turns out he probably will be. Obviously, if it turns out on Friday we hear some news that Mbeumo isn't going to be playing in game week 16, my transfer plans will obviously change. But from what I'm hearing, it seems okay. I'm all right to hold Mbeumo, which is shocking. I didn't expect that. And I'm going again with the double Manchester United attack. It did me so many favours last game week, and it's done me so many favours most of the season. These guys have been taking it in turns to get returns, you know. I remember a little while ago we played against Brighton, and Mbeumo got the 15-pointer and Bruno blanked. You know, this time round, last game week, Bruno was the one with the big haul. So instead of owning one or the other, why not just own both? Playing home to Bournemouth is actually really good. You know, at the beginning of the season, Bournemouth looked very strong, but they look the complete opposite right now. It's weird to see, you know, normally teams start off slow, then get better like Aston Villa, but Bournemouth have done the complete opposite, and I'm very happy to be owning 2 attackers playing against this Bournemouth team. Phil Foden, if you guys have been watching the last few game weeks, you will know how much this man means to me. Listen, I'm a Manchester United fan. I hate Phil Foden, but Phil Foden, mate, if you're ever in my local area and you need a place to stay, you know, please knock on my door. I will not hesitate to let you in and give you refuge. On a real, he did start in the midweek. He played in the Champions League against Real Madrid. He played 70 minutes. Phil Foden and rotation is weird. Like, when you think Phil Foden's going to get rotated, he doesn't get rotated. So I think he's going to get rotated for Crystal Palace, which means he probably won't get rotated. So if you own him, definitely start him. You know, it's too risky. Even though Foden's got a tough fixture and he did play in the midweek, his form is so good. 6 goal involvements in the last 3 games. Ownership so high, you cannot bench him. It would be risky to go without him. It's not a great entry point, but because he's done so well recently, you know, a lot of people are going to be looking to bring him in. I personally wouldn't this game week, but I understand if you want to because it's so scary to go without him. Looking at Bukayo Saka, who I currently have the captain's armband on, I'm not 100% set on it, but I'd want to. You know, like I said, follow me on Twitter if you want to see my full team by the deadline to see what I've actually done. I'm looking towards captaining Bukayo Saka. I want to do it. I don't want to back out. In case any of you want to know this, there's been 15 game weeks so far this season, and in 14 of those game weeks, I've captained Haaland. So I've owned him since game week 1, and it's benefited me a lot. I've captained him nearly every time. The one time I didn't, my captain blanked and Haaland returned, which hurt a little bit, but at the end of the day, you take a risk, it sometimes doesn't work out. With this time round, I believe Haaland, bad form, bad fixture, compared to Saka, good form, good fixture. It just seems like the perfect time to go against Haaland and back a differential captain. Going into the front three, there are no surprises. You guys have seen the transfers I've made and you know I own Erling Haaland. It's the most obvious front three in the game right now. Like, Raul Jimenez, short term he's great. After a few game weeks, you may want to sell him, and not a lot of people will own him. A lot of people will either run a front two or either hold Voltemade or get Raul Jimenez. So he's probably the biggest differential in this front three. I expect the other two to be incredibly high owned. So Raul Jimenez is the one I want the most from, but he's the one I expect the least from, frustratingly. You know, he doesn't cost a lot for a reason. He's on penalties, fair enough. And he does have the best underlying data of any Fulham player by quite a bit. But we have to remember he plays for Fulham. So let's not expect too much. Let's hope in the next 3 game weeks he gets me 1 or 2 goals, you know. I mean, I said the same thing about Phil Foden and he got me 5 goals and 1 assist in 3 game weeks. So Raul Jimenez, if you want to do the same, be my guest. With Haaland, there's not much to say. If he's not my captain, which I don't think he will be, he's not going to be playing for me. He is going to be playing against me, someone I want to blank. So there's not really much to say about him here. He's not really a player in my FPL team this game week. He is a player in all of my opponent's FPL teams. And Thiago, I ramble on about how essential this guy is, but I'm not saying it for the fun of it. Even though his non-penalty expected goals are quite low, you know, he is still very essential. That Brentford fixture run is so good, short term, medium term, long term. And Thiago finishes nearly every big chance he gets. He's on amazing form. And, you know, we already know this, but Brentford get a lot of penalties. To me, this guy is the second most essential player to own behind Erling Haaland in this game week. Anyway, guys, that is it from me this video. Let me know down in the comments if you have any questions about the transfers you're going to make or your teams. I'm happy to help, you know, remember who you're talking to. You're talking to a man with the top 5k shades. You know, I've got good advice to give. So, you know, make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.